Before you were born, before you knew your name, before the world told you who you really are, who were you? The ancient India spoke of a sage who answered that question before he even took his first breath. Not after years of meditation, neither after wandering forests, and not after renouncing the entire world, but rather inside the womb itself, a child not born yet, who suddenly remembered the universe, and what he said shook the foundations of human identity forever. This is the story of Vamadeva, the sage who awakened before birth. The sages of ancient Bharat believed that birth is not a beginning, it rather is a forgetting. A soul enters the world carrying impressions of countless lifetimes, yet the moment it takes birth, a veil descends. Memories disappear, truth fades, and consciousness becomes trapped inside a fragile identity. I am this body. I am this name. I am this very person. This very illusion they called Maya. And so humanity wanders, searching outside for what was always within. Kings searched for it in power. Rishis searched for it in forest. Warriors searched for it in glory. But one soul entered the world already awake. Long before his birth, strange signs began to appear. The air around the hermitage felt really different. Silence deepened in his presence. Even the sages sensed something unusual. It was said that while still inside his mother's womb, this very child was not asleep like ordinary beings. He rather was aware. Not merely conscious, but awakened. While unborn, Vamadeva began to witness something few humans ever perceive: the movement of existence itself. He saw lives rising and dissolving like waves, civilizations appearing and vanishing, bodies changing while consciousness remained untouched. And then the final veil broke. Inside the darkness of the womb, Vamadeva realized that he was not merely a child. He was not confined to one body, one lifetime, one identity. His consciousness expanded beyond birth and death. But in that very moment, the unborn sage declared, Aham, Manur, Abhavam, Suryashcha. I was Manu when I became the sun. This was not poetry. This was realization. Vamadeva was speaking from a state beyond individuality. He saw himself in all existence. Manu, the ancient progenitor of humanity, the sun, which is the source of life and cosmic light. The boundaries had dissolved. No I, no other. Only consciousness, infinite and eternal. The sages later described this very state as the direct realization of Brahman, the infinite reality hidden behind the universe, not a god sitting somewhere beyond the clouds, but the very essence of existence itself. The same consciousness flowing through stars, rivers, animals, humans, and through you. Human beings spend their lives protecting identities that constantly change. Child, adult, rich, poor, successful, failure. But according to the ancient rishis, none of these are the true self. They are temporary masks worn by the consciousness. Vamadeva saw this before birth itself. He understood. The body changes. The mind changes, thoughts change, emotions change. But the witness behind these remains unchanged. The Upanishadic sages would later echo the same truth. You are not merely the wave, you are rather the ocean itself. And suffering begins the moment consciousness forgets its own infinity. But why do humans fear this very realization? Because the ego survives through separation. It wants to remain special, separate, limited. The ego whispers, you are only this very person, you are only this very body, you are alone. But Vamadeva shattered that very illusion before entering the very world. And this is why enlightenment often feels terrifying. Because the false self begins to dissolve, the small identity disappears. And what remains is vast beyond comprehension, infinite, silent, eternal. The sages called this liberation. Freedom not after death, but freedom from ignorance. The story of Vamadeva is not merely about one extraordinary sage. It rather is about the hidden potential of consciousness itself. The rishis believed that every being carries the same divine essence, but most remain trapped in distraction, fear, and identity. Vamadeva became a symbol of what humanity could become if it truly awakened. Not more powerful, not more famous, but rather truly aware. Aware that beneath all division, all beings emerge from the same eternal source. Most beings enter the world asleep and spend their entire life searching for the truth. But Vamadeva, remember, before his first breath, before his first word, before the world could tell him who he really was, he had already seen beyond the illusion. And somewhere deep beneath the noise of the mind, the same truth waits within every human being. Not to be learned, but rather to be remembered. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. If you like the contents of my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more such enlightening contents. For the time being, thank you.